did expect the final laps to be, and that wasn't quite where the track was supposed to be.
AC carrying a little bit too much and then into the gravel, which certainly compromised that lap. So very good lap from Mathieu Svaibo, then a 1:45.058. So we're back now with the AC car. At the moment, this really surprises me. We've got, what have we got, 21 minutes of the qualifying session remaining, and these two cars at the moment are the only two cars on the track, amazingly so. We could see Fabian Volven getting prepared. Now you can see purple sector, sector 1 and sector 2 for AC. 1:45.058 is the target, is well beyond that. But it was a better lap, but for the trip into the gravel that we saw in replay. So he will go again. And something that is crucial to talk about, Nico, is the fact that not only has the car changed with various evolution steps that have been made to the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo, but also Pirelli have designed a new tyre which really increases the durability of the tyre. So where at some points drivers might have been prepared just to bring the car back into the garage and be satisfied, I think now they would be prepared to push for another lap. This is Fabian Volven then, who here at this very track became the first ever female race winner in the Ferrari Challenge. And I'm talking about a race win overall. So Fabienne has got a liking for the Imola circuit, Nico, and that could add a couple of, could take away a couple of tenths from her lap time because she's very confident here.
Definitely, definitely. And she's being engineered by the very proficient Octane 126 team. Björn Grossman, one of the standouts from the team, is here, but sadly he's not on the track. Certainly not for this round. But he will be able to add even more advice as we see the pit purge with
Yannick there.
Yannick and Christian Bertschinger. That, yeah, hello. And she enters the first chicane. Gonna be interesting. She definitely got to terms with that car, the 488 Challenge, very well, as you said. Got that race win here very famously, and was a very reliable top scorer in the Trofeo Pirelli. Also did some other racing in single seaters, it has to be said, and did that very successfully as well.
And of course, yes, sealed the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Ladies Championship last year, and it wasn't a one-horse race. If you'll forgive the analogy of horses, that's really terrible. I wish I hadn't said that now. But Fabienne Volven won that, and she's out on track now. And as I say, Imola is a track that she likes, and she does have competition within gender as well, because delighted to welcome Michel Gatting to the Ferrari Challenge as well. We'll see Michel Gatting out on track shortly. But for the moment, we're concentrating on Fabienne Volven as she makes her way downhill now through turns 16 and 17, which are not really turns before Rivazza 1. Heavy braking, but very gentle on the brakes is Fabienne, and turns in. And Michel Gatting that we were talking about just a moment ago, we could see there in shot. So out of Rivazza 2 comes Fabienne Volven now through turn 20, which is just by pit in. This is not going to be a scene-setting time from Fabienne Volven, but more to come from the Octane 126 driver. She is fastest within her class, a 1:48.773, but is some 4 seconds down on the time that's been set by Mathieu Svaibo. And we know jolly well that Fabienne will get those Pirelli tyres warmed up and will go for another lap now. But certainly P1 within class, but P3 overall. So more to come from Fabienne, and you can see she's pushing much harder now as the brake discs, or my American colleagues from the Ferrari Challenge North America series would say, the rotors. They're lighting up, and Emanuele Maria Tabacchi has joined us on track as well, and he of course was successful in Trofeo Pirelli Am last year, winning the championship, as well as being the world champion in terms of AMs in Trofeo Pirelli. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, he's been uplifted, he's been promoted to Trofeo Pirelli Pro, and I just think is a real dark horse for the championship this year, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, his learning curve is just off the charts. Certainly was last year when he stepped into the challenge after having never done wheel-to-wheel racing, just timed competition, and he was near on dominant. And so the step up to the pros was definitely a logical step. And if you can make that step within a year or within a couple of races, then you're definitely up for the challenge here in the Trofeo Pirelli Pro class. And that's, yeah, well, a 1:44.0 just underscores that. But Fabian,
oh, look at that. 1:43.999. 1:43.999. I mean, that's close, isn't it? And that's how close it can be. Now, this is not necessarily what we want to see right at the start of this qualifying session. This is the Michel Gatting car, engineered by Iron Link's Nicky Hasler. And Nico, there appears to be some work going on that car at the moment, and this is inevitably going to compromise her qualifying because there is only Emanuele Maria Tabacchi. He's already gone now quicker in Sector 1. He's second fastest overall with a 1:44.038. He now knows that he has been beaten thus far by Fabian Volvend, and he is fighting back, Nico.
Absolutely. Sets fastest sector by fastest sector, but just a few seconds or seconds behind him, Fabian Volvend is basically doing the same. As we see the car of Michel Gatting again, she was out for one lap, but didn't even set a flying lap and came back right in. So she must have felt that there was something odd with the car, and certainly it looks like they are figuring out or trying to figure out what that is, and will send her out again. Obviously, we still have quite a few drivers who haven't even been out. David goes to just on his outlet, but here we see Emanuele Maria Tabacchi. Surely that has to be another fastest lap. And by a wide margin.
Look at that! Ho, ho, ho. 5/10 quicker than Fabian Volvend. She won't like that. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi. 1:43.433 as we look now at the car of Z-Man, which is being worked on as well. Onto the pit purchase where all the data, of course, is being analysed, and every single centimetre of tarmac of the track is looked at in terms of the relationship with the car. And we await this number 73 car to make it out on track as well, Nico.
Indeed, and there we have Fabienne Volvend, and there we have the Michel Gatting car out again. Fabienne also fought back, and she came within 1/100th of a second on her last attempt, but didn't quite make it past Tabacchi on that row. But now it's a 1:43.433 versus a 1:43.443. I mean, that's close, isn't it? And there is another fast sector.
And it's what we expect from the Ferrari Challenge, and we're almost lulled into this sense of knowing that the drivers are always going to deliver actually what is scintillating stuff in qualifying, let alone in the race. It is so close at the top at the moment between Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and Fabian Volvend. Now, I guess what Michel Gatting will try and do here is try and keep on terms with Fabian Volvend, because it will give her a brilliant way through the track. Here we can see the number 73 car continuing to be worked on. That is the car of Roman Z-Man, Octane 126 driver. Here's Fabian Volvend. Not so quick through Sector 1, but I think Sector 1 she was probably compromised by Michel being there. Not that Michel did anything wrong at all, but Fabienne still had to get by. Frederick Paulsen is out as well, the Formula Racing driver. All of a sudden it becomes very, very busy out on track, Nico.
Yeah, although Fabienne just decided, okay, that lap didn't do it, and she returned to the pits. Very interesting. For this year, obviously, the much beloved and by others much hated grid drop has been done away with. We will never get on terms in terms of that topic. There is generally, as we see, the 33 Emanuele Tabacchi has beached it properly, and that will surely bring this qualifying session to a halt.
Yes, now that could be Emanuele Maria Tabacchi pushing hard has obviously gone off, and that will curtailed this session. Sure enough, we have the red flag showing the session is being suspended. Clock has been stopped with 12 minutes remaining, or as near as makes no difference, just under 12 minutes remaining. So Emanuele has managed to get the car back out again of the gravel. And I don't know about you, Nico, but is he going to park that car? Whether it has got a problem.
He did.
As that session curtailed, he was still the fastest, wasn't he?
Yeah, and we can see that great timing list to our left of your screen. It was close, but I would guess that there you can see the car in the gravel next to the Brazilian flag.
So,
that obviously being the tragic
yes, of course,
spot of the 1994 Senna incident. But it doesn't look like he will take part in the remainder of this qualifying. Time obviously stopped, so the other drivers will have a chance to get back out. It's just after lunchtime here. So the track is still gaining heat and will possibly get faster, at least for 1 or 2 laps, with more grip at it. So that leaves everybody who's still out there on their 4 wheels with a chance to improve on their lap time. And interestingly, for this event specifically, where drivers generally have 2 sets of tires for a race weekend to use on the Saturday and the Sunday, they have 4 different sets allocated to each session. So there is no consideration that the drivers need to preserve their tires for the race that's coming up later, so they can take the absolute last out of the tires. So where in other times maybe drivers will have been hesitant to go out another time because they felt, oh, I might take something out of the tires I will need later on in the afternoon. That's not a consideration at all here.
this, Nico, is how keen Michelle Gatting is to put a time in. Look, she's right at the head of the queue, long before we get any indication of when the session will be resumed. She's parked up she wants to be the first out there with a clean track ahead of her. David Gostner exits his car. David Gostner is currently 5th fastest within class. His father Thomas there just offering advice, and David doesn't look terribly happy, Nico.
No, he doesn't. Incidentally, the session is going to restart in about 10 seconds, so we're basically ready to go back. No, he didn't really look happy there, and he hasn't really set a time yet, and him walking away didn't really intimate that he might set one very soon. So, yeah, there's the green flag, and we're back racing. Let me guess. Michelle Gatting will be first out.
Bless. So Michelle Gatting, the first to show out of the pit lane then, as we go back to our qualifying session with only 11 minutes and 30 seconds plus a few counting. So we're on board with Michelle Gatting through the Variante Tamburello. The Michelle Gatting car looks absolutely gorgeous. The livery is fantastic, unlike some that I could mention, but I won't. Mathieu Weibo is out on track as well. Mathieu Weibo, incidentally, is the fastest of the AM drivers. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi, the man that caused the suspension of the qualifying session, quickest of the pro drivers in his newly elevated pro class that he races in now. And following Michelle Gatting, we have, I think that's Fabienne Volvend, who's back out on track, Nico.
Indeed, so 2 female racers, each of them very, very good and very fast, and it's going to be very interesting. And you said earlier that Michelle might take the line behind Fabienne to take a book out of her page, or the other way around rather. And talking about the other way around, it might be Fabienne who may follow Michelle here on this occasion, as Michelle goes for the Variante Alta. And just as I was about to say that there are quite a few drivers still in the pits, pretty much all of them have now filed out, and we have 4 drivers who haven't really set a time. Michelle Gatting is one of them. And obviously this is still her outlap, but once she crosses the timing line, it'll be on.
She will go for it like a thing possessed, I'm sure. So this is the lap that's going to count then, presumably for Michelle Gatting, as she crosses the timing line now. tries to make it as short as possible, heads up towards turns 2, 3 and 4, the Variante Tamburello. Lots of braking force used for the left-hander. Through she goes, kisses the curbs, being very, very neat and tidy through this track. We've seen other drivers that take so much curb that it actually costs them time. Michelle Gadding, the target sector time is 21.784. She's 3/10 down on that, so knows that she needs to find something from somewhere. Perhaps Sector 2 and Sector 3 will be kinder to the Danish-based racing driver, who propels the power of the 488 Challenge slightly uphill now. Michelle Gattin then, who has raced in a number of categories and has found her home, in my opinion, in these fantastic 488 cars. Whether racing here or in other classes in the GT3 version or GT3 iteration of this extraordinarily successful racing car. So holds on to it, carries perhaps just enough over the curbs, of course, always maintaining 2 wheels on the racing tarmac to ensure that there's no observations with regard to exceeding track limits, although track limits here at Imola doesn't seem to be the problem that it does in some other tracks. Running downhill now through the kink, which is turn 17, before heavy braking for Rivazza 1. Then Rivazza 2, that comes up now, and it's absolutely put the pedal to the metal and floor it to the start-finish straight, which isn't a straight. As you can see, heads towards the timing line for Michelle Gatting, and it is a 1:44.444. It means that Michelle Gatting is 3rd fastest, but I'm sure, Nico, she will feel there's more to come from her and the car.
Yeah, with 8 minutes to go, I guess you want to have a banker in there, which is not a slow one, but where you feel that, okay, I will get through all the turns and I won't have any issues, so I have a reasonable time, and then I can try and explore where I may shave off the 1 or 2 tenths further. So at least that would be a very wise approach, and she definitely put herself in a position where, if that's where she needs to start from, it's by no means a impossibility to win the race. So
look at Sector 1 here, Nico.
Yeah, it's a very good first sector again. Aqua Minerale uphill. And this is such a tricky spot. You can't brake too much, but equally you can't just run too wide, because there are those bumps on the outside of the turn. And if you run just a little bit too wide, that will totally get the car airborne with no chance of a real good lap time. Obviously, in qualifying, that lap time would be disqualified anyway. But it's really, really tricky to get the right amount of momentum through that turn.
And Nico speaks with experience, having propelled the Fiat Panda rental car that we share around this Imola circuit. He knows every nuance of every bend. Michelle Gatting then, the target, a 1:43.433. I don't think this is going to cut it. And sadly, it doesn't. So Michelle Gatting does... It is a slight improvement. But in the meantime, Fabian Volvent has posted a 1:43.382. Emanuele Maria Tabacchi with that 1:43.433. It's Fabian Volvent P1, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi P2, Michelle Gatting P3 at the moment. And the best of the AM drivers is Matthews Vibo with that 1:44.750. I have to say, across the first few drivers, Nico, it's very close, isn't it?
It's absolutely very close. The one man that we're absolutely desperately missing is Thomas Neubauer, who has made one lap and hasn't really set a time, and he's back in the pit lane. And unless he comes out within the next, I'm tempted to say, minute or two, he will not set a time. It's only 5 minutes and 40 seconds. If you just count the out lap, then you need to come out very, very quickly. David Ghostner just set a time of 1:46.888, so at least he has come back out. Obviously not quite happy with the car previously, but setting a time and P7 overall as we stand.
This from Fabienne looks like it could be better than the previous 1:43.382. Purple Sector 1, Purple Sector 2 needs to round it all now as she heads down towards the Rivazza turn, carrying as much speed as possible. She really is on the edge here, braking very, very hard for Rivazza 1. Or perhaps that wasn't as neat and tidy as she would have liked it. Tries to get the exit, and blow me, we go to another shot. That's a great shame, because I think Fabienne was on course there to potentially do an even quicker lap than her previous 1:43, and she has a 1:43.341, Nico.
Absolutely, yes, a new fastest time. Just separated herself just a little bit further again from Emanuele Tabacchi. He obviously doesn't take part in this session anymore, but there may be others who might still challenge for that time. And lo and behold, as I say that, Thomas Neubauer on his outlap, so he will go for another lap, and I wouldn't put him beyond him. He's definitely one who has the pace in the car and the experience to challenge for pole position.
Still consider Thomas Neubauer the one that has unfinished business from last season. This is David Gosner, who, despite his clear unhappiness with the setup of the car, has come back out again, just kicks up a bit of dust as the rear oversteers onto the gravel. Good to see David Gosner back out on track once again. And he heads towards the timing line now. Oh no, just at the wrong time, Nico. And that, to me, looks like it could be...
That's the Thomas Neubauer car, isn't it?
I was going to say, I think that's Thomas Neubauer. Now, the car appeared to twitch a bit before he shortcutted the chicane.
Yeah. Difficult to see from that shot, but it doesn't really...
Yeah.
Whether he doesn't want to turn in, or... I mean, he was close enough to the track to potentially make it back onto the tarmac there. But that definitely means that nobody will...
Now, isn't it?
Yeah, that definitely means that nobody will better their times with the car. And certainly yellow flags being waved there. That means that any... improvement.
You've got to slow, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. David Gosner did set a new fastest personal time, but he didn't improve overall. So he's P7 on the grid, and
look at that. For goodness sake, get the right track on your face mask, Christian. That will be remnants of an outing to the Eiffel last weekend, I suspect.
I'm sure. There is the red flag, is out. That's on fire.
That's interesting.
Literally. Where is that? Is that on the exit of turn 1?
No, is it?
Or is that coming down from Piratella? Wherever it is, it's definitely burning up the tarmac here, or the grass rather.
Grass. Growing grass. Well, the red flag now, Nico, surely this is completely academic. With just 2 3/4 minutes left in the session may as well be binned, because no one is in the 2 3/4 minutes that remain in the session.
Well, I mean, you can make a case that you can get your outlap completed in that time, and then obviously any lap that follows would still count. So I think it's doable, but the question is, will they, after having a red flag previously, will they give the drivers another shot? Great overlay here with the Ferrari races.
Yes.
Text within the... It looks like it's there almost.
I was out there last night digging it in, friend.
Did you?
Yeah.
And what did you do with the fire there? I mean...
That's not me. That isn't me. Well, you know it's not me, because I'm sitting in the commentary booth with the microphone, so I can't be holding a fire extinguisher at the same time. It's impossible. I am multi-skilled and multi-talented, but that is not me. This in replay then. Ooh, you can see how... really take the curbs. The 488 Challenge Evo cars with the... And that was at AC, finding some heat in the back end of the car as he chucked it through the gravel. Some lovely evocative shots here of these marvellous cars, Nico.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they... You know, sometimes when you put the spoilers and you Evo something that was so near on perfect already, you always risk that it maybe work better, but not necessarily look better. I think that definitely isn't the case here. Those cars, if it's possible, they look even more Ferrari than the non-Evo version.
Very rarely I find myself agreeing with you. I think the
kind.
cars look absolutely... That's also unusual. I think they look stunning. I love the little winglets, look, underneath the door mirror. Can you see there? And that's a really interesting thing. It looks as though it's pointing as if to generate lift, but it's not. It's there to redirect hot air. So it's like it's an addition to the cooling, if you like. Look at that colour scheme.
It's the royal color scheme. Come on. Give it some love, will you?
No. No.
Just to spite me.
Not at all. Not at all. It's very objective. It's very objective.
You mean
Okay, there is Fabienne out of the car. She knows she's done enough to secure that pole position for Octane 126. Not the first time, that's for sure. And
sorry to
hugs
interrupt.
allowed, Nico.
Sorry to interrupt. In 1 minute, the session will restart, so we have it officially on our screen.
No. Yes, yes, you're
So
right.
2 minutes, 43 seconds are left. And I wonder whether Michelle Gatting is already at the jumping back forward to the line. And I don't know if Fabienne already knows that the session is going to restart. Not sure whether it makes any difference for her in terms of whether she wants to go out again. Doesn't look like it necessarily. But we don't see a lot of movement in the backdrop, and I'll just have a look out the window. You take over, please. I'll try to ascertain what I can see.
Let me comment. Well, there's Michelle Gatting. Well, that proves that she probably is not going to go out again. There's Fabienne Volvend, who's satisfied that she's not going to go out again. So I think that the Nico nearly falls out of the window. There's Manuela Gostner to the very left of your picture. Deborah Mayer there, who's the sort of team boss, if you like, of the Iron Lynx. Having a conversation with her driver, Michelle Gatting, who's third fastest. Well, one driver that is going out again is that of Roman Zeman. Roman then is lined up in the pit lane. We're on board with the Scuderia Prague driver there, which I suspect is Matthews Vibo, who's already done a good job. There, the Fabienne Volvend car and the Prancing Horse Proud on the back of that 488 Challenge Evo car, and there is Fabienne herself. So, a couple of cars are making their way back, making his way back into the commentary booth now, having nearly fallen out of the window, is the man with the lessons in the blooming obvious, because we saw it on the screen. Here comes Nico Spalek.
Blooming obvious. Well, okay, I'll remember that. I think it's clear we will have those cars and those two only, because everybody who's now leaving the pits would leave it too late for another quick lap. And
go, Matthews.
Matthews goes around the outside. Simeon maybe trying to follow Vibo around the remainder of this lap, and then ideally through the fast lap, as we can see the team looking on. That's obviously the Scuderia Pro team of Mathieu Vibo. Frederick Paulsen has just come out of the pits as well, but I dare say that is too late for setting another fast lap.
Is he?
No, his out lap will finish with zeros on the clock, so we can look at those drivers. They're obviously still on their out lap as Vibo approaches the Variante Alta now. Tire temperature is going to be critical.
He is utterly determined to be pole position within AM, which at the moment is held with Frederick Paulsen, a 1:44.634. The difference between them is minuscule, but Matthews is clearly, it's not going to be this lap. This is his out lap, but he is going to cross the timing line and have the ability to put one more lap in. And I think, Nico, he wants the honours of the P1 position, doesn't he?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, there is no grid drop system in place, so whoever is fastest will be fastest and first on the grid unless any penalties are applied. And I see no reason why. First chicane, he needs to nail this one. And Simeon as well. Haze.
So the Sector 1 target time is up there for you, 22.157. He's got to beat that. Oh, he's just down by just over a tenth, and Zeman down by significantly more than that. So Matthews now has got to improve in both Sectors 2 and Sector 3 by a significant margin to wrestle away that AM pole position from Frederick Paulsen.
As he comes up from towards the Piratella and then down towards the Aqua Minerale, one of the most iconic parts of this circuit. This double right-hander type turn up to the very end.
Little bit of oversteer. Nico, the checkered flag is out on the session, so he's gone quicker than anyone in Sector 2. If he can nail everything through Sector 3, he loses the back end of the car just a little bit, but controls it beautifully. This could... Look at the team there, analysing every single stroke of the steering wheel that Mathieu Weibo offers this 488 challenge. Evo car as he heads towards the timing line now through the kink. 1:44.634 he needs to beat. I think he's going to do it. No.
Not quite. Simeon, he also... Well, respectable fastest personal lap, but no improvement overall, remains P9. So we've got 9 of the 10 drivers who have put a time in. Thomas Neubauer, unfortunately, did not qualify. Obviously, he would be allowed to start at the race if they get the car in order, but that I'm not quite sure based on that quali performance. They will have their work cut out for them. But it's Fabienne Wolvent, Miss Imola, if I may say so, on pole position.
And deservedly so, did a very, very good job. In there with the Scuderia Prague team then here at Imola, just in fact a little way along the paddock from our commentary position, there is the Octane 126 team who have seen so much success in the Ferrari Challenge, and Christian Berchinger, the man with the grey hair and the glasses, is the team principal. Here's confirmation then of the way it looks. Fabian Volvend, Emanuele Maria Tabacchi and Michel Gatting, the first 3 in terms of Pirelli drivers. And the AM drivers, it's Frederick Paulsen, Mathieu Weibo, and Oliver Grotz then. The 1, 2, 3 with David Gosner and AC and Roman Zeeman. And as Nico indicated, the man that didn't classify, and it will be bitterly disappointed, is Thomas Neubauer. He is going to have his work cut out when it comes to the race, Nico.
Absolutely. But that offers us, at least as neutral spectators, the potential for quite a bit of drama and overtaking maneuvers. As we've said before, the volume of cars, the number of cars on track in this Trofeo Pirelli isn't all that great, in great part due to COVID-19, and it will increase down the road and down the line for the season. But, well, I could very well do with a race where Thomas Neubauer tries to win the race from P10, but equally, there will be 9 drivers who will have their word in that story.
And basing my prediction on how I've seen Thomas race in the past, he is going to jolly well try and overtake every one of those 9 cars. You know, he's a real fighter out on track. And as I've mentioned before, and probably you're tired of me hearing it, I still think Thomas will be disappointed with his achievements in the season last year, and therefore want to right the wrongs of 2019 in 2020. And therefore, I think he will be even more determined. And the fact that he's not qualified where he would like to will